guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, I'm back and it is Wednesday, September 11th, 2019. And did you know, here's a little bit of trivia for you. This date, not next year, but this date, if you read it forward, it's the same as if you read it backwards. It's a palindrome, which is just a fancy name for saying what I just said. Anyway, we do want to remember those that lost their lives on this day. It was a tragic day, and I don't think that there is any of us that will ever forget exactly where we were and what we were doing when we heard, and the emotions and everything that ran through our mind, the fear that we all felt because we didn't know what was happening. Yeah, and it was interesting because I had a doctor's appointment today, a chiropractor, and I was talking to the attendant, the girl, and she said she was in grade 5 when it happened, and she remembers, she told me the teacher's name and what class she was in and everything. She said they came in and they said that we were to go home because the United States was under attack and they didn't know whether Canada would be targeted or not. So they sent all the kids home, but she was describing her emotions and everything. And I thought that's interesting because I really haven't talked, because I was living in the States then, and I really haven't spoken to many Canadians about how they felt or what they were feeling at the time. It's kind of a taboo subject up here now, as it is, you know, in many circles in the States. People really don't want to discuss it because I think everybody feels uneasy about what happened and uneasy about the story we were fed. And we won't get in further into that because I think you know exactly what I'm saying without me saying it. But I do want to remember those victims that died tragically on this day. And I pray that there will be justice brought for them. So we are going to be looking at some Q-related news. Hopefully, we will have Q back again soon because it looks like the HN is going to be back online at some point, and it will be more independent, which means they're not going to have the ability to just rip it down whenever they wish. So this is all good news. And we're going to get into the news now. I do apologize about not being here last night. I've been trying all these herbal things, and I've been getting it from an herbalist and getting these really, pure strains of different herbs and stuff and trying them as teas for different medicinal reasons. And I tried passion fruit because it is supposed to help you sleep, and I have trouble sleeping. So, it worked like a dream. I mean, literally, because I went right to sleep with it. It just drains all the anxiety and everything out of your body. I felt wonderful, but I woke up with my eyes swollen shut. So, yeah, that's kind of a disadvantage, I think. So, yeah, I have some other teas. In fact, I am drinking a combination herbal tea right now. So if my eyes start rolling back in my head, you'll know what happened. Anyway, we'll hope that doesn't happen, but my eye is getting better, but it's still, I have to laugh because what else do you do? But it really hurts to touch it, and it's still painful. So I don't know, but I'm not taking it again. All right, well, that's enough about my eye. Excuse me. This is why I brought this with me, to soothe that savage beast of a cough. And I think it'll work. All right, now I do want to take just a moment and thank a couple people. These are the people that contributed via coffee. Deborah B. See, I'm really having trouble seeing out of my one eye, so I don't know. Just bear with me. be easy on me. Deborah B, Chiara Awakening is the name that she goes by, and she happened to mention she's got a new puppy, Mowgli, that she got from the pound, and she suggested that I do live streams, and many of you have suggested that as well. I am thinking about it. I guess I'm just a little bit intimidated because I've never done it before. But I think if I did it once or twice, and I know you guys are a pretty easy audience. You've always been extremely kind to me. So I may do that. But I would like to do them on a specific topic and not just run willy-nilly everywhere. So I may do that in the next little while. Anyway, Robin M. And she happened to mention that she had 2 kitties, actually 3. She's got Moshi, and he is a tuxedo cat, and Princess Turbo, the Russian blue. And I love Russian blue cats. They're beautiful. Excuse me, more tea. Then we have Jim from Carlisle, Iowa. And he also donated via coffee. And Andy C. just became a new Patreon member. Welcome! And I am going to be doing more with my Patreon account. I really am. So I'm getting myself organized, and I'm getting much better organized, and I'm getting things in place that will help me to be more organized so I can answer things and so forth. And just be more responsive, because I know that you feel like you know me, and I feel like I know many of you guys, so I do want to respond. I did get something in the mail today, but I didn't bring it over, so I'm going to mention that in the next video. But I appreciate it. It's so much fun to get mail. It really is. I don't know why, but I guess because everybody sends emails and stuff now, so when you get something handwritten in the mail, it's a special delight. All right. Well, let's go on to the news now. And one more thing I want to mention, and this is very selfish of me, but I really would ask that you would, those of you that are believers, that you would pray for my mom tomorrow. She was involved in a little fender bender, and here the law is if you're over 70 and you're involved in a fender bender, even if it's not your fault, and it was not her fault, you have to try out for your license again. Just the laws here. So I had no idea, and neither did she. And I bet you many people in Canada don't know that. And maybe it's just in Ontario. I don't know. But she's got to try out for her license again. And she's very nervous. Very, very nervous. So she's going at, I think, 1:15 tomorrow afternoon. If you could pray for her, I would so much appreciate it, because she is way out in the country, and for me I don't mind. I've been going back and forth and driving her here and there, and whenever she has appointments out of town, I drive her anyway. But you know, it just makes life easier, because she can't even go for groceries or anything unless she has a license, even right into the little town where she lives, which is minuscule town. Anyway, so I would appreciate that, and thank you so much. Now, let's get on to the news now. People are always getting upset with me for chatting, but, you know, that's me, and I figure, well, some of you like me to chat, and those of you that don't, you know, you can always fast forward. So, there you go. Can make everybody happy. Now, this is an interesting picture here, and it's the back of our president, Donald Trump, and the most beautiful First Lady, Melania. And it's quite evident that she's wearing something symbolic on the back of her dress. I'm not sure if that's a dress or a coat. I believe it's a dress. And it looks like a tower, and it looks like something sticking out of the tower, and it looks like a kind of a bullseye mark right on the tip. So this is interesting, and I have something else about this, if I can find it, that I just, and it may take us a while to get to it, because now, oh, right here. Okay, good. Good. Now, Twitter critics claim Melania Trump's coat in 9/11 tribute looks like a plane flying into the tower. into a tower, one of the towers. I don't know if that's what it is or not. I know it's symbolic, and I know it's meant to be a signal to someone, because that's how they roll. You know, we've learned to expect these things. We've learned to look for hidden communications in everything, what they're wearing, what they do, what they say. So I do believe that it's symbolic of something, and it's a message to someone. So let's look here. Sorry. President Donald Trump's tribute tweet for 9/11 anniversary garnered attention for the wrong reasons Wednesday. The picture showed First Lady Melania Trump wearing a coat that trolls were certain showed a plane flying into a tower. It didn't. The picture in the tweet was not taken Wednesday during the 9/11 memorial ceremonies the Trumps participated in at the White House and the Pentagon under sunny skies. The First Lady wore a short black Ralph Lauren dress for those. Instead, the foggy picture in the president's tweet shows the couple from the back standing on some kind of overlook before an unfamiliar landscape. Trump is wearing a long black coat trimmed in white thread. And they used this picture, which really wasn't what they were dressed in for 9/11 when they, did the memorial. But it says, "We will never forget," and we won't as a country. I don't think the world will ever forget. I noticed that the protesters in Hong Kong actually ceased their protests in recognition of 9/11 and those that lost their lives. I thought that floored me. It really did. Talk about respect. They have respect for America. They're not bashing, our president like everyone on the left is doing here. And Hollywood and all the rest of the guilty ones are, hate Trump. And we know why they hate him. And the other ones, they don't even know why they hate him. They just hate him because other people are hating on him, right? Because they listen to everything the mainstream media puts out. And so, they're spouting hatred. So they think, yeah, he's a bad man. Orange man bad. So they don't even know why they hate him. But other people in the world don't feel that way. I mean, Canada does, unfortunately. But we are sold out to Soros and the globalists, really. Hopefully that will change in the election, but I'm not too hopeful. I should be hopeful, but I'm not. I've seen so much here that just absolutely disappoints me to no end. Anyway, so about this coat she was wearing. We don't know exactly when this picture was taken. They are at an overlook, and probably if we could blow this up, there's a plaque here. We could find out when it was taken, but is it even necessary to know? Probably not. But there's a reason why he chose to put this picture, even though they weren't wearing this on today during the memorial. He still chose to put that on there. So yeah, there's a meaning. We will never forget, it says, under an American flag. The First Lady's Twitter account posted a version of the picture too. If you enlarge the picture, you can make out the white trim tracing along her back on the coat belt and up and down the split in the coat back, which is closed with a button tab. Aha! It shows a tower with a plane flying into it, declared eagle-eyed users, alert to anything that can be used to criticize POTUS via FLOTUS. Melania Trump, after all, was harshly mocked in 2018 when she wore a jacket with the words, "I really don't care, do you?" scrawled on the back for a humanitarian visit to migrant children separated from their parents at the border. Critics have been on alert ever since in search of FLOTUS outfits to disparage. I'm sure I'm not the first one to spot this, but who in the world thought it was a good idea for Melania to wear this coat in the 9/11 photo? It legit looks like an object is flying into a tower or the Washington Monument, tweeted Ashley Spivey. Okay. Yeah, and here is the tweet by Ashley Spivey that's saying this. And, let me make this a little bigger here. Well, that's not making it bigger, is it? But here it is. Now, personally, I wouldn't want to wear this because it looks like something's going up her rear end. But but I love the coat. I mean, it's beautiful. And I mean, she could put on a burlap bag and look wonderful. That's just her. But what is this exactly? It would be interesting to know, because it doesn't add anything to the coat design-wise at all. So there's something up with that, and this is a close-up of it. And if you look, to me, this looks like, the little round, and then like a bullseye, kind of, or a rifle scope, Okay, so let's go back here. No, really, let's. And let's go on here, see what else is here. Some of the critics couched their observations in the form of a question. Is that a plane crashing into one of the Twin Towers in the back of Melania'S coat? Abe Caldwell tweeted. And there's his tweet below. Not to sound like a complete conspiracy nut, but does anyone else see a plane flying through a tower on Melania'S coat? Kitty Hill tweeted. And that is the tweet. And Twitter users had fun posting enlarged versions of the photo, some of them doctored in obscene ways, suggesting that Trump was trolling her husband, even though he was the one who posted the tweet. Melania wears a coat in their 9/11 post that literally looks like a plane flew into a tower. Did they fire all the stylists too, or is Melania just the biggest troll ever? One user asked. And, it does. It looks like something coming through the tower, like when the nose of the plane, if there even were planes, that is a hotly debated subject. So I don't know. At least one user liked what he saw. Melania'S jacket has the Washington Monument stitching with a button flap on lower back. Very cool coat, tweeted Charles Newby, a self-identified Reagan conservative. Some users wondered what the fuss was about. That's just a vent on the back of Melania'S coat. It has a button to keep it closed, tweeted one user. White House spokeswoman Stephanie Grisham, the former press secretary for FLOTUS, who now works for both Trumps, had this to say about the latest kerfluffle over the First Lady's clothes. It's ridiculous. Well, I don't think it's ridiculous, to tell you the truth. I think if it has a meaning, and and it might not, because this is a flap, like a flap where your coat opens, and this is a button that keeps it closed. Is that all it is? Maybe. I don't know, but seeing as Q has taught us to look at everything, it's no wonder that we look and wonder. So I don't know, but if there is something to it, we'll know. And if it was a message to a certain group of people or a person, they'll know. So I don't think it's anything to get, all whatever about, but let's go back now, because there's more to get to. And let's look at this. No, really, let's. Trump orders crackdown on California homelessness. President Trump has ordered White House officials to crack down on homelessness in California, according to an anonymously sourced Tuesday report in the Washington Post. Number one on the list appears to be Los Angeles' infamous Skid Row, where vagrants will be moved into government-backed facilities. Trump is said to be actively involved in the effort, which is currently under discussion by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the Domestic Policy Council, and the Department of Health and Human Services. Now, personally, that worries me, because whenever you've got people being moved into a government facility, they lose a little bit of their freedom, because don't tell me that they'll be allowed to come and go as they please. They won't. But the situation has got to the point where if they don't do something drastic, they're going to have an epidemic, and it's going to spread. It's going to spread to us, no matter where we are, because, I've never seen such unsanitary conditions maybe in the third world, but even the third world, they take better care than that, really. So anyway, one official cited the need to take action due to the rampant diseases and sewage problems, aka so much feces that San Francisco pays poop patrollers $185,000 per year to keep up with their shitey situation. Now, this is interesting. $185,000 a year to scoop poop. That's pretty good money. I mean, think about it. Pretty darn good money. Especially if you don't have an education and whatever. I mean, some of these homeless people could scoop poop and not be homeless. I'm just saying. Among the ideas under consideration is raising existing tent camps, existing tent camps for the homeless, creating new temporary facilities, or refurbishing existing government facilities, two officials said. The officials spoke on the condition of anonymity because the planning hadn't been publicly revealed. The changes would give the federal government a larger role in supervising housing and health care for residents. Well, the thing is, the government does have to take a role because the politicians in California sure aren't. They don't care. What do they care? You think any of the money they're given ever goes to the people that need it most? Of course not. It pads their pockets. They're all living in great big houses. Yeah. So they don't care. And yet they want to run America? Are you kidding me? Like, seriously, think about it. Could you imagine if Hillary got in? Really? You think it's bad now? Censorship and all that? Oh, she is a power-hungry somebody. She really is. That's all she's a megalomaniac. They talk about Trump being a megalomaniac. Nah. Oh, he's got a healthy self-esteem, definitely. But Hillary, she's a megalomaniac. She doesn't care who she has to kill, who she has to step on. She doesn't care about anybody. She cares about Hillary, and that's it. Classic narcissist, megalomaniac. All right, the Post notes that the talks are fluid and concrete plans that have not been reached, given Trump's recent comments on the disgrace to our country of homelessness, along with the rat and rodent-infested city of Baltimore, represented by House Oversight Committee Chairman, Representative Elijah Cummings. Yeah, and how much money disappeared there that they don't have any idea, but he's got a big old house and just a whole lot of very, very expensive art. Gee, I have no idea where that money went. Can't imagine. Elijah Cummings, who's investigating Trump in several matters. Oh, well, of course, because, when they get called out on what they're doing, they don't ever apologize, bow their heads, look like they're contrite. Never. No, they turn around and attack the person who's just about always Trump. Yeah. So he's investigating Trump in several matters. It stands to, that hurt my eye. No more eye rolls for me tonight. It stands to reason that dinging Democrats for their disastrously run sanctuary utopias will be key focus going into the 2020 election. Well, I should hope so. In early July, Trump told Fox News host Tucker Carlson that his administration may intercede in cities like New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Well, they have to. They have to, because for the good of the citizens. Because do you think the citizens are happy with that? Even the leftist ones, do you think that they're happy with that? They're not. Well, they couldn't be. I mean, otherwise they're mentally ill. Really. I mean, if I'll tell you something today when I went to the chiropractor, and this has never happened before there. This guy has done so much good for me and really got me mobile again and able to get around again after my back injury. So anyway, I was there, and I walked in and the first thing I smelled was mango. And I said, I smell mangoes to the girls that, they assist. And I said, I smell mangoes. And they said, yes, you do. I said, we just sprayed everything down. And I said, oh, okay. And the one girl that was my assistant, like was going to help me with my therapy, she came back and all of a sudden, this smell, unbelievable. And I went, oh my gosh, what is that smell? And she says, well, that's why we sprayed the mangoes. And I said, okay, what is it? And she said, we had a customer or a client, a patient. I knew I'd get it right. Third time's a charm. And we had a patient. And I said, you're kidding me. That's what the patient smelled like? And she said, oh yeah. And she said, he left a while ago and we can't get the smell out of here. And I said, I don't know if I can stand this, really. And I said, do you have any more of that mango spray? She says, no, we used the whole can. And she said, let me go back to the storeroom, see if I can get you another can of something. So she came back with Lysol and she says, here you go. You spray just as much as you want. So I sprayed and sprayed and sprayed, but still that acrid smell was in my nostrils and it was literally making me sick. And I thought to myself, how could someone in their right mind not smell themselves? Really? And, that just makes me think about these people that are living on the street among, urine and feces. And some of these people haven't had a bath in a very long time. Their hair smells. They've probably got lice. Really. And can you imagine the smell of that? I can't imagine any human being okay with that. Really. And I asked them, I said, why can't you refuse this patient service until they take a bath? And she said, we can't do that. It's discrimination. And I thought, oh my gosh, well, I'm glad you're in that business and not me, because I would throw up. Anyway, let's go on now. You can't have what's happening where police officers are getting sick by walking the beat. I mean, they're actually very sick, where people are getting sick, where the people are living there, living in hell too, said Trump. We cannot ruin the cities. And you have people that work in those cities. They work in office buildings, and to get into the building, they have to walk through a scene that nobody would have believed possible 3 years ago. That's true. It's true. And the thing is, they're going to start losing the good people out of these cities, because could you put up with that? If you had to walk by that every day, and if you're smelling it, then there are particles and everything going, you're breathing it in. If you're smelling it, you're breathing it in. So anyway, and in a late July tweet, the president slammed Democrats for wasting time on the witch hunt hoax instead of focusing on our country. Well, he's got a point, right? Speaking of failing badly, has anyone seen what is happening to Nancy Pelosi's district in San Francisco? It is not even recognizable lately. Something must be done before it is too late. The Dems should stop wasting their time on the witch hunt hoax and start focusing on our country. Well said, Mr. President. Well said. According to the White House spokesman, Judd Deere, Trump signed a June executive order governing the regulation of affordable housing, while his administration has been drawing up plans to deal with homelessness across the country. Trump's executive order created a new White House council on eliminating regulatory barriers, increasing the cost of building new housing, a move aimed at expanding the housing supply and driving down prices. Like many Americans, the president has taken notice of the homelessness crisis, particularly in cities and states where the liberal policies are combining to dramatically increase poverty and public health risks, said Deere. President Trump has directed his team to go further and develop a range of policy options for consideration to deal with this tragedy. Meanwhile, Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti aide Brie Lynn Pete told Politico that a very large delegation of Trump administration officials were in town to discuss the matter. The number of homeless families in California has skyrocketed in recent years by at least 25%, according to David Garcia, policy director at the Turner Center for Housing Innovation at the University of California, Berkeley, who told the Post, generally speaking, all the major cities have seen incredible increases. It's a crisis. That said, Garcia also slammed Trump for adding to the homeless problem by tightening immigrants' ineligibility for federal assistance, which puts more family on the streets. Okay. Oh, ow, that hurt. You know what? That's ridiculous, because by keeping the welfare away from people that don't deserve it, that aren't here legally or haven't been here long enough or what have you, that saves the country so much money. These people are brain dead. Really, they cannot think a logical thought through to completion, or else they're just so politically minded that they don't give a damn about anybody else. I'm sorry, but it really upsets me. And, we're seeing that in all the U.S. cities. It's not just California. I mean, California is really out of control, but there are other major cities. People cannot afford housing. And it's not just people that are addicted to drugs or alcohol or any type of substance abuse or mentally ill on the streets anymore. There are people that are working full time but are still living on the streets because they can't afford a place to live. Anyway, if the Trump administration's endeavor proves successful, poop patrollers may be out of a job. Well, that's all right by my books. I think we'd rather have less poop and less poop patrollers. Why can't they have people doing community service cleaning up poop? Why can't they have prisoners cleaning up poop? I'm just saying. All right. Let's go back now, because there's more to get to. There's always more. All right, let me see. And let's look at this. You know why? Because we can. The DC Patriot. That is some darn good tea. I don't care who you are. Breaking Supreme Court rules Trump ban on asylum to be enforced. I love it when a plan comes together. Nope, not tired of winning yet. No, are you? The Supreme Court issued an order late Wednesday blocking a nationwide injunction that prevented the Trump administration from enforcing a ban on asylum for anyone trying to cross the U.S.-Mexico border by transiting through a third country. The decision is a win for the administration, which can now enforce its ban while the case plays out in the lower courts. Yeah, love that. See, the thing is, if they're claiming asylum, like say they're coming from the Congo or wherever, whatever country, pick a country, any country, and they're coming through Mexico, well, they have to seek asylum in the first country they come to. So if they land in Mexico, they have to seek asylum there. Otherwise, they're banned from entering the U.S. Yep. And doesn't that make sense? If you are seeking asylum, wouldn't you seek asylum in the very first safe country that you come to? Makes sense to me. I would. If I was just so distraught and I felt my life was in danger in one country and, the very first safe country, that's where I'd land. That's where I'd go. So, yeah, this to me is more winning for the Trump team, but let me know how you feel. Everybody has a different opinion here, but it makes sense to me. And, I just want to reiterate that I am not against legal immigration. Not at all. I'm a legal immigrant. I'm not against it. In fact, people from diverse cultures, if they want to come and they want to adopt America as their own and they want to work and pay taxes and be law-abiding citizens, well, come on. If you're going to help us build America into a greater country, then come on. As long as you can qualify and, you don't have a criminal record and whatever, great. But do it legally. We have laws. If you transgress those laws, why should you be rewarded for that? I don't get it. I never did. All right, now let's look at this. And now for something completely different. Although it's from the same place, the DC Patriot, this guy right here, who I've never heard about before, it says sick. Green Day singer screams, kill Donald Trump. And he does, because I've heard it, the little clip. Green Day lead singer Billie Joe Armstrong screams, kill Donald Trump at a concert in August of 2017 at the Oakland Coliseum. From conservative influencer Mark Dice, did Green Day singer Billie Joe Armstrong yell, kill Donald Trump during his performance of American Idiot at the Oakland Coliseum? Listen. Sounds like another treasonous liberal trying to incite more terrorism against the President of the United States. Now, can you imagine what the media would be saying if a band had done this to former President Barack Obama? The media outrage would be off the charts. The double standard and biased media is out of control in America. Green Day owes the president a massive apology. So let's go here. Well, it's not going to let me just click on that. So there's more than one way. Oh, crap. It brings us back to the same place because I should have put it up here. There we go. Now, hang on here. And this says, did Green Day singer Billie Joe Armstrong yell, kill Donald Trump? Well, he most certainly did. Hang on. Okay. Here's the same concert recorded by someone else from a different angle. Oakland Coliseum. Yeah. How is he able to get away with that? Really? Like, it's just coming to light now, apparently, but hey, really? Like, what if somebody was doing that and instead of Donald Trump, it was Obama or some other president? You know what would happen. You and I know exactly what would happen. But it's okay with Donald Trump, apparently. Because everybody claps and applauds. Yay. There are monkeys smarter than these people. Really. Okay, now. Yes, let's look at this. No, really, let's. Cameron Boyce, Pedo Wood, and the Disney Death Machine. This is by Tiffany Fitzhenry. And first and foremost, it saddens and sickens me to hear that yet another Hollywood child star has died. The world woke up to the shocking news. Okay, what is this? This may be old. When is this? 4 weeks ago. Oh, heck, let's read it. The world woke up to the shocking news Sunday morning that according to 20 billion articles online, which all contain a freakishly consistent uniformity, Cameron Boyce, best known for his roles in a number of Disney Channel films and television shows, has tragically passed away at the age of 20. According to Boyce's family, the young actor, dancer, and singer passed in his sleep after suffering a seizure, the result of an ongoing medical condition. Do I believe that? Probably not. This young, absolutely adorable, freckle-faced boy at the beginning of his life is now gone for good. How are we to make sense of this utterly tragic news? What if I told you, like with most, if not all, child stars' death, all is not what it seems? Well, of course not. It's Disney. What do you expect? What if there was more to the story? A lot more. It took me less than 20 minutes of digging to connect Cameron Boyce to shady charities involved in sex slavery, pedophiles and predators, and dicey elites like Richard Branson, all while the evil overlords at Google seem to have begun dramatically ratcheting up their control of the flow of information. These draconian measures seem to have increased in the past week, which was not a good one for the squeaky clean, okay, this doesn't make sense. These draconian measures seem to have increased in the past week, which was not a good one for squeaky clean, allegedly family-friendly Disney. Okay, squeaky clean, allegedly family-friendly Disney. Yeah, they're not family-friendly at all. And this from Tiffany Fitzhenry, former Disney star Bella Thorne, getting molested from the age of 6 to 14, being abused all the time. I was being molested. People have no idea the type of mistreatment I was dealing with while a Disney star that everyone around me saw and did nothing. Yes, corn niblet wood is real, and it is. You know, you think all these people like, what was that guy's name? He came out against a lot of this stuff. Oh gosh, I can't remember his name right now, right off the top of my head. You guys probably know who I'm talking about. And I think that he used to hang out with, didn't he used to hang out with Michael Jackson? I don't know. I'll find his name, or it'll come to me. Anyway, once you begin to allow yourself to mull these, okay, hang on here. Disney megastyle Bella Thorpe revealed that she was being molested from the time she was 6 to 14, and everyone around her knew, and no one did anything. I want you to think about that for a moment. Let it sink in. Who could or would allow the sexual abuse of a 6-year-old to go on? Why might they do this? Once you begin to allow yourself to mull these horrific questions, and mull them we must, you'll start to find that the timing of Cameron Boyce's sudden death particularly odd. Are other Disney child stars with stories like Bella's to tell becoming emboldened? Had Cameron experienced similar things? Did those closest to him turn a blind eye? How plausible is it that a person who's been famous for 11 years dies suddenly of a supposed health condition that's serious enough to take the life of a perfectly healthy, seemingly 20-year-old? And yet this mystery condition has never been mentioned before, not anywhere that I can find, at least. Today, I want to present you with 10 relevant facts you likely may not know about Cameron Boyce, his career, and the people who surround him. But as always, I want you to draw your own conclusion, think for yourself, and feel free to share your thoughts with me on Twitter. Start here. Cameron's IMDb. It is extensive and includes not only a long list of Disney shows and films such as Jessie, Shake It Up, Good Luck Charlie, and the recent Descendants, but also Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2, a new TV series called Paradise City, a spin-off of the very obscure and not successful 2017 film American Satan. And then it says cause, obviously. That doesn't make sense. But anyway, let's go on. As well as films such as Mirror and Eagle Eye, which Cameron starred in alongside fellow Disney star kids Shia LaBeouf, is it? Whatever. Well, this is the beef in French. Whatever. Okay. And Cory Booker's reluctant girlfriend, Rosario Dawson, whom an insider source had shared with me, has no say in the situation whatever, a virtual slave. It says this Hollywood actor is dating Cory Booker. He's totally heterosexual and she's super attracted to him. It's not some contract-based arrangement drawn up by her reps for PR and a shot at the White House for making him look desirable and straight. Nope, it's all totally real. Sure it is. Because I'm sure that she would be attracted to Cory Booker. Okay, all right, here we go. 1. Social media death hoax in 2017, when you start to understand more deeply that the information that reaches you is being shaped and molded in order to shape and mold you, and that celebrity influence is owned and controlled for the very same reason, you'll begin to look at things like leaked nudes and even death hoax and rumors a little differently. You'll start to consider that perhaps these are tools used to influence the influencers to modify behavior when they're off message or stray from their instructed course. Here, Cameron Boyce and his descendants co-star Dove Cameron referenced the death hoax in question. I'm not going to play all this or we'll never get... Well, it's only 15 seconds. Sure, I'll play it.
There was a rumor that I was dead.
I remember that! I sent the article to our group chat and it was like, Cam died, I guess. Like, oh wow, good to know from Twitter.
Cameron, are you alive? What?
Yeah, oh yeah, I did that. I was like, did you die? What happened?
Yeah.
Would you die without telling us like that?
Yeah, that's interesting, considering that later he did die. All right, be honest. Can you imagine anything more traumatizing than seeing headlines tear across the internet announcing your own death to the world? Consider the possibility that things like fear, humiliation, and loss of control are used to keep celebrities in line. Consider the possibility that this was a veiled threat. Case in point, the front page headline on Snapchat the very next day after the recent bombshell Bella Thorne interview posted above went viral. What? All right, this one says, wait, Bella Thorne really does have a farting problem. Do we care? No. No, as long as we're not near her when she farts. I mean, hey. All right, whatever. Now, what does it... Okay, this is the Snapchat. Whatever. Okay. The humiliating story was snagged from a random Instagram post back in 2016, but it happened to be front page news the day that article in major outlets were carrying the story of the revelations from her recent interview. For the record, Bella herself retweeted the video of her interview from my original tweet. Kind of makes you think, right? And this is her... Bitchin' Bella Thorne. I would throw down for Bella Thorne. This is from Cassandra Fairbanks. I would throw down for Bella Thorne. This woman has been through hell and has the spine to call it out and stand up for herself constantly. I admire her like crazy. And that's in response to John Doe, former Disney child star Bella Thorne says she was molested from the age of 6 to 14, abused all the time. People have no idea the type of mistreatment I was dealing with while at Disney that everyone around me saw and did nothing. I can believe that. Meet Kenny Ortega. Friends, if you haven't heard the name Kenny Ortega, I guarantee you soon will. He is an A-list Hollywood choreographer and director whose Me Too moment is rumored to be decades overdue. He is the director of Cameron Boyce's new recent Disney project, The Descendants, Part 1, 2, and 3, where he played the fictional son of Cruella de Vil. With a long list of impressive credits, including everything from Disney Newsies and the mega-hit High School Musical franchise to Dirty Dancing and Pretty in Pink, as well as distinguished run directing iconic music videos and live tours for the likes of Gloria Estefan and Michael Jackson, Kenny Ortega is the Hollywood equivalent of a mafia-made man. As if to prove it, which the cult loves to publicly do, Netflix, cough cough, the CIA, just entered into a very lucrative multi-year overall deal with Ortega, announced April 9th, 2019. So how does one become a made man in Hollywood? There are several ways, all of which involves selling your soul. One way is to appear as the key witness in the $40 million wrongful death suit brought by Michael Jackson's mother and 3 children and lobby on behalf of concert promoter AEG. He wasn't being very responsible. This is the producer, Kenny Ortega, testifies. He wasn't being very responsible. This is it. Producer Kenny Ortega testifies Michael Jackson and Conrad Murray were to blame for untimely death. What's the big deal anyway? Ortega's longtime friend and admitted greatest inspiration is already dead. Mr. Murray is in prison, and everyone who profited the most off Michael Jackson rode off into the proverbial sunset. Zero accountability. Suffice it to say, Kenny Ortega is on Paris Jackson's very telling shite list, right next to Oprah and David Geffen. Crazy days and nights. Another way to get on the inside of the Hollywood prison pyramid is to be compromised or compromisable another way to get on the inside of the Hollywood prison pyramid is to be compromised and or compromisable person, depending on what level you're at. You see, Hollywood might look like it's all about movies and TV shows and acting and stuff, but it's really just about something called controlled influence. It's about owning and controlling all those who are given the platform to influence you. In order to get that platform, you have to be willing to do anything. Even as a screenwriter, I was instructed to say these very words which I was told in no uncertain terms by my high-powered agent that the top executives at places like ABC Disney were waiting to hear me say. I'm willing to do anything. Yeah, let that sink in. I didn't say the words because of them and because there are tons of things I'm not willing to do. But think about it. Isn't it easier to own people who routinely do things that put them in jail if anyone ever found out? People who are willing to do anything for fame and fortune? That is why sick, degenerative behavior is rampant among the influential. They're not only enabled to get away with it, see Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, Matt Lauer, Louis C.K., James Gunn, Brett Ratner, Les Moonves, criminal behavior is encouraged. Yes, Hollywood and Washington are a cesspool by design. Having no moral compass is how they got there in the first place. Neat, right? Now, it's my opinion that the death is referring to Cameron, the director is Kenny Ortega, and the franchise is High School Musical or The Descendants, where underage actors and actresses were and are being turned out, all as part of this cesspool system. When it comes to the children, it's the parents who sell their soul on their behalf. There's a long list of creepy Kenny Ortega stuff to dig up. The latest clip, wigging people out, is his handsy way with Cameron Boyce's Descendants co-star Dove Cameron. And let's take a look.
The musical numbers are incredible. We all feel so lucky to be a part of the project and so thankful to all the fans for making it happen. Thank you, guys. Okay.
The first Descendants movie was so well received. Did you feel any pressure going into your second movie?
Okay.
Triple threats, they sing, they dance, they bring ideas, and they bring incredible gifts to each of these movies.
Amazing. That was an amazing speech.
We love you.
So much.
Wow. These poor girls. Seriously. The Kenny Ortega, Jeff Bezos connection, as if you needed one more reason to claw and hiss at Kenny Ortega. Should you ever encounter him, he's been involved with CIA, Amazon, Jeff Bezos' now ex-wife, anti-bullying organization Bystander Revolution, which she founded in 2014 for whatever dumbass reason. No, seriously, I bet this foundation is really changing the world, you guys, she said, super sarcastically. Ortega, Eisner, and Sandler, oh my, you can learn a lot by who says what and when. The very first public figure to address Boyce's death on social media this morning was Kenny Ortega, followed by Disney CEO Michael Eisner, and quickly thereafter by Adam Sandler. Sandler wrote, starred in, and produced Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2. Cameron Boyce appeared in both. To the keen observer, this little tweet parade felt extremely coordinated and intentional and quite frankly pre-planned. So, and so this one says, my love, light, and prayers go out to Cameron and his family. Cameron brought love, laughter, and compassion with him every day. I was in his presence, his talent immeasurable, his kindness, generosity overflowing. It has been an indescribable honor and pleasure to know and work with him. I will see you again in all things, loving and beautiful, my friend. I will search the stars for your light. Rest in peace, Cam. You'll always be my forever boy. And this is Kenny Ortega that said that. You'll always be my forever boy. Okay then, Kenny. That's not creepy at all. My forever boy. Oh my gosh. So she just said the very same thing I just said. Yeah, that's not creepy at all. Ortega later clarified that this was a Peter Pan reference, which makes it even worse if you understand the pedophile tropes in Peter Pan. Yeah. The Walt Disney Company mourns the loss, and this is from Robert Iger. The Walt Disney Company mourns the loss of Cameron Boyce, who was a friend to so many of us and filled with so much talent, heart, and life, and far too young to die. Our prayers go out to his family and his friends. And this by Adam Sandler. Said, too sweet, too funny. Let me see. Too young, too sweet, too funny, just the nicest, most talented, and most decent kid around. Loved that kid. Cared so much about his family. Cared so much about the world. Thank you, Cameron, for all you gave to us. So much more was on the way. All our hearts are broken. Thinking of your amazing family and sending our deepest condolences. And that was from Adam Sandler. Let's go back to here. And it says, nice picture, Adam. Real subtle. Don't worry, your signal has been sent and received. Adam is such a good cabal puppet these days, y'all. Here, you see, he's being rewarded. Netflix reveals 30 million accounts viewed Adam Sandler-led murder mystery at a time when box office is limping along like the terminally wounded wildebeest. It is allegedly this film would have like the terminally wounded wildebeest. It is allegedly this film would have crushed opening weekend had it been released at the box office, of course, which it wasn't. I guess we'll just have to take Netflix's word for it, since they somehow get to keep all of their data to themselves for whatever as yet unexplained or justified reason. Now that I think about it, there's someone else who does that too. They're really powerful and super secretive. Who's that again? Oh, that's right. It's the CIA. Netflix is the CIA. I'm sure the fact that Murder Mystery was filmed at Cabal, Kingpin, George Clooney's favorite lake in Italy, where weird, highbrow art, child trafficking things go down, and written by an actual effing Vanderbilt has nothing to do with anything. And, you know, where George Clooney, that lake in Italy, is where that picture of the Chinese girl that was on the boat with George Clooney and Obama, and I can't remember which one is going to, I think it's Clooney is unzipping his zipper. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, this is really, really suspicious, and it's very interesting because I haven't heard this covered. I'm sure all that random. It's not like this handful of psychedelic elite bloodline families feasting on the blood of children who've held humanity hostage for generations or whatever. All right, onward, internet friends. As you may have noticed, there are thousands of images of Cameron Boyce online. You have to really search to find this one where he's got two fingers framing his left eye and covering his mouth as if he's been silenced by some group. Yeah. Well done, Adam. Good thinking, choosing this picture to post alongside your tribute. This might even get you an Emmy nomination. You see, Adam isn't bloodline, so he has to do stuff like this to keep his cult membership in good standing. Note another very recent sudden celebrity death. This is Mac Miller's final Instagram photo, which posted just hours before his death by accidental overdose. Well, would you look at that? Two fingers framing his left eye and his mouth covered, almost as if it's a sign to others not to speak out or they'll whack you. And they will. Just ask Isaac Cappy. Don't believe that was a suicide at all. Here's the final Instagram picture Cameron allegedly posted of himself, also just hours before his death. There's that left eye again. Cameron introduced former Vice President Joe Biden at his Biden Courage Awards back in March. Today, Biden tweeted his condolences. I had the opportunity to meet Cameron Boyce at this year's Courage Awards, and through his work with at It's On Us, he was filled with so much light and served as a tremendous role model for young people. He's gone far too soon. Dr. Biden and I are sending our prayers to his family. Yeah, well, we don't have to get into creepy Joe Biden. We know all about him. All right, he recently fired his agent over sex assault charges after Stranger Things child star Finn Wolfhard fired APA agent Tyler Grasham over sexual abuse allegations which came to light. Cameron, who was also represented by Grasham, fired him the same week. However, in predictable pedowood fashion, the LA prosecutor won't prosecute the felony rape charges from multiple accusers. Now it looked like he has escaped criminal charges altogether, and Hollywood is even looking at rehiring him in a talent agent capacity. At this point, there's no disputing that Hollywood protects corn niblet lovers. The question you should be asking yourself is why? For about a year of my life, and this is talking about Cameron Boyce, I didn't have to leave my house. I wouldn't, he said in a recent interview of his darkest period. It was a bad way of dealing with fame, but it's a scary feeling to know everyone is looking at you all the time. Cameron has learned to cope with it. Okay, so I don't know who's speaking here. Cameron has learned to cope with it, though, and is adamant that he'll use his platform of over 7 million Instagram followers for good. He started working with a charity called the Thirst Project and is spreading the word about the group's push to bring clean water to millions around the world who desperately need it. And it appears that Cameron Boyce was involved with two separate but equally suspicious charities. And side note, we already know this, charities are just slush funds for the rich people. The Thirst Project's list of partners include the notoriously dicey Clinton charities among, there we have that Clinton connection. Always. Yeah. Clinton charities among multiple Hollywood studios, but by its own admission, they appear to be all about water, but in reality focus most heavily on tailoring curriculum to influence political activism in school children in the United States, which is what the very powerful are most focused on right now. Yeah, because you can change society by, indoctrinating the children. Everybody knows that. Similarly, We Charity, formerly known as Free the Children, is an international development charity and youth empowerment movement founded in 1995 by human rights advocates Mark and Craig Kyleberger. The organization implements development programs in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, focusing on education, water, health, food, and economic opportunity. It also runs domestic programming for young people in Canada, the U.S., and the UK, promoting service learning and active citizenship. So, the same thing. This link is a must-read, eye-opening article about the two brothers who started We Charities, the cult of Kyleberger. We Charity is connected to child slavery. We Charity is connected to Unilever, Microsoft. We Charity connected to Richard Branson. The brothers co-authored a book with Holly Branson, daughters of Richard Branson. Richard and Holly also produced the docuseries Shameless Idealist with the We Charity founders. Oh, it's just one big incestuous family, isn't it? I'm certain there is much more to be unearthed down the rabbit hole of these two charitable foundations, elite slush funds. For Cameron's part, there's a good chance he was either unaware of the corruption or he was aware involvement was not his choice, but a decision that was made for him. Take a little time to dig into what goes on in the places where these charities operate. Hint, it's child sex trafficking. And I am trying to hurry here because we are way past time. And it says, side note, Necker Island, Branson's, is a mere 35 miles from Epstein's Island. Epstein, who was arrested Saturday and is being arraigned as we speak for running a global child sex trafficking ring to entice, entrap, and ensnare elites, particularly in Hollywood, DC, and the UK, in order for even more powerful people to control their influence. His indictment was unsealed at 9 a.m. this morning. Is it all connected? Absolutely, it's all connected. Watch the water. Could watch the water mean look at these charities who, under the guise of bringing in clean water, are actually just bringing out children? Is this why Trump keeps mentioning our water being the cleanest it's ever been? Is that code? Are these water charities a bigger piece of the puzzle than we may realize? Given the fact that Cameron was involved in not one, but two incredibly similar water charities and died so suddenly, it's a very worthwhile question to dig into. Michael Ovitz, once president of Disney and founder of Hollywood mega agency CAA, was run out of town after he famously said that Hollywood is run by a cabal led by DreamWorks co-founder David Geffen, which Ovitz described as the gay mafia. And there's so many rabbit trails down this, and I know this is long, but it's really important because it helps us to understand that all of this is connected, all of it. Hollywood, the elites, everything. In addition to Geffen, the list he rattled off of the gay mafia included the New York Times Hollywood correspondent Bernie Weintraub, Disney chairman and former employee Michael Eisner, Brian Lord, Kevin Houvane, and Richard Levitt are partners at CAA Universal Studios, President Ronald Mayer, Ovitt's former partner at CAA, and Barry Diller. In regards to Cameron, I can't help but think twice about the very first episode of Disney show Jesse, his breakout role. For a good portion of the episode, he's in his underwear. It's no secret that young boys are systematically abused in Hollywood, but how deep does all this really go? Cameron Jesse co-star Debbie Ryan started her career on Barney and Friends, alongside future Disney starlets Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato. If you remember, the actor who played Barney was arrested for selling child pornography of children as young as 10. After that, Debbie Ryan had a stint on Disney show Sweet Life on Deck, for which Disney hired Brian Peck to work as dialogue coach with the kids after he'd been to jail for child molestation and was a registered sex offender. Yes, you heard that right. Disney hired a convicted child sex predator and registered sex offender to work on their children's show. Did I mention he was hired specifically to work with children? Brian Peck remains a registered sex offender to this day and was still being employed by Hollywood as recently as 2016. Ryan was also featured on the Jonas Brothers' Wizards of Waverly Place and Hannah Montana before getting her big break and starring role in her own Disney Channel show. Jesse, we've all watched the personal issues Gomez, Lovato, and Debbie Ryan have had over the years. It's time we understand what we're looking at, a system I call the prison pyramid. Conclusion. I hope you'll dig further into all these data points and start to connect all the dots that need connecting. Cameron Boyce's death strikes at the heart of why I'm building a new Hollywood. Love and light to all. In unconditional love, Tiffany. Now, I am going to investigate some of those rabbit trails that she kind of led us on, which we didn't go down at this time because of time. But I really am going to do that because there is so much here. It is massive, massive. Now, a lot of this we knew, but it just cements what we already know, and it adds additional detail. So unfortunately, that is all I can get to tonight. I think I may come back and do another short video, so you can stay tuned for that. But for now, me and my fine feline friend here, my furry fine feline friend, are going to sign off. You guys have a good night. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and keep seeking truth. Good night.